Hello, folks. This is Wistful Deal Hill, and welcome back to the channel, everyone. And welcome back to another My Little Pony Horror AU. This one, unfortunately, as you folks can all see, is just titled Infection AU or Infected AU. There's no name or anything really to it. We're stuck with the default, which is unfortunate, but you know what? We'll roll with it or whatever. So anyway, welcome back to another M.L.P Horror AU. I found this one off of TikTok, and we're gonna take a look at it and see what this holds for us, folks. So let's get right on to it. CW, what does that even mean? Content warning. Never mind, I figured it out. So anyway, My Little Pony Infected AU. So now we got, M.L.P. Okay, interesting. What is going on with her torso there and stuff? She's got something with her arms there with freaking tails missing. Anyway, dear diary, survivors of this disease are so few and fall apart that I must document the few that I know of and take note of things they have in common for research. Oh, okay, so you take Twilight's role. Interesting. Let's see. During recovery, crystals become discolored, Barty, whatever, and fall off. Okay, so they just basically peel off from what I presume here of this. With mud, the only reasonable conclusion I can come to is that her extensive exposure to hundreds of different rock and materials over time have given her some type of immunity to fight the bacteria of E-crystal. Alrighty. Any pony who survives E-crystal develops an immunity. This lets her handle dangerous crystals without issue. So is this what we're looking at? The E-crystal virus or something? Attacked when traveling to Ponyville from the rock farm. Her experience on rocks in Crystal Grove was requested by Twilight. Because of where she was bitten, amputation wasn't possible. Lovely. Was kept in quarantine area just outside Ponyville. Wasn't expected to survive, yet she did. Against all odds, just as stage 2 was happening, she took a turn for the better and recovered. Huh, interesting. Now helps Twilight and the others in the lab with her extensive material knowledge. Alrighty. This is kind of interesting, honestly. We haven't seen much of M.L.P actually really do anything, so I'm kind of in on this. It is immune and not afraid to handle live crystals, aka crystals only recently fallen off of victims. Contagious if broken or pierces the skin. Pierces the skin, excuse me. For some reason, the tail has always the first place where the hair falls off. Takes time for hair to grow back. Huh, alrighty. Interesting. And then we got Rarity here. Status, healthy and immune. Also, same thing with M.L.P as well. Anyway, in the case of Rarity, she was more difficult to pinpoint than Mud. However, I have come to the conclusion that her talent for gem getting location gems and gem spells saved her life somehow. Alrighty. Been earlier in the pandemic when the citizens of Ponyville were working to build a safe hold wall, which she was helping with. An infected pony attacked and bit her on the neck, like made pie. Because of the bite location, no amputation was possible. So how are some of these folks immune though? Held in Ponyville quarantine area, like Mud Pie took a turn for the better at stage 2. Basically the same old as Mud Pie, as it seems. Is still healing, but now designs a number of protective cover April or whatever. Even though she's exhausted from the recovery, her generosity spirit side compels her to help with the others. Her physical wounds will heal and her hair will grow back, but the mental scars are more difficult. These voices she heard, what were they? Why were they so meaningless or whatever? The thing of these both individuals have in common is their connection to rocks and gems. I am trying to figure out if their shared immunities can somehow be replicated, whatever word, can't say correctly, to help find a cure. But this far, all of my attempts have been failed per se, futus. Alrighty, so crystals are falling off just like with Mad Pie, and tails slowly growing back again. It's temporary. Alrighty. So I guess this here is content warning by the looks of it. Alright. Princess Cadence. Status stage unknown. Patient 0. Oh, lovely. I have a bad feeling with you. Let's see. Bit over a dozen crystal ponies before she was finally discovered, and by then these ponies had begun to bite over ponies themselves. Lovely. Shining armor and the Crystal Empire soldiers were unable to capture and contain her. There seemed to be some unseen magical force driving and powering her, and combined with her alicorn's magic, it's not only made her incredibly quick, but dangerous to approach. Gone completely frail, can't speak, was last seen around the skirts of the Crystal Empire. Surely she's still out there. It's too dangerous and the weather is too treacherous to wander too far, even for an alicorn. Right? Oh yeah, you're talking about the blizzard ice age storm or whatever, with those magic spirit horses or some crap. Is that what we're getting at? No, because that only happens if the elements of harmony are imbalanced or something, or if each of the 3 races can't decide on something. This looks familiar. Hell and Hooves filthy from being out in the elements for so long. Or just out in the wilderness, forest, dirt, some shit. Could be that too. Crystals growing everywhere. Strange looking crystal that doesn't resemble the others. So we got some crystal virus going on here. Shining armor. Status defeated. You know, I had a feeling on that. I too would be defeated if my spouse got infected as well. Currently located in Canterlot safe hold. Was forced to flee the Crystal Empire with Flurry Heart. Sunburst and a group of about 200 other refugees. Due to it being completely overrun by the infected. Damn. So is that in terms of survivors or how many infected there were? 200 survivors or 200 infected? Was forced to temporarily leave Cadence due to being unable to contain or reason with her. Can see that. Hiding feelings of failure due to not being able to save his own kingdom or his wife. As a result, he isolates himself frequently in the Canterlot Library, all while researching different spells and trying to come up with a plan of action to bring back Cadence. Yeah, damn, so what's Twilight doing in all of this? This is interesting. Neville takes off his ring and refuses to give up on Cadence. Yeah, I don't blame you, dude. Just gotta keep your head up. Ah, screw this soundtrack, I hate it. Yep, content warning. Yeah, too bad TikTok automatically moves over before I can read it. I hate that stuff. So anyway, so we got Princess Celestia, Dermond, or whatever. So I guess, is she like in stone or something? Like Discord similarly back in season 2 or something? I wonder. I think so. Made a huge sacrifice in the hopes of helping Twilight and the others find a cure. Poured every last ounce of her magic into Twilight's castle to use it to power the lab with her ambient, basically very powerful magic, to say the least. So she gave it her all, truly every last life drop here. Her magic now powers the castle, lab, and Ponyville Safehold like a huge power station. Okay. Thanks to Celestia's magic, they've made huge strides in finding a cure and doing research. However, the result was Celestia being turned to stone. Okay. Something told me something on that. So she is basically like what Discord was back in season 2. She's currently monumented, per se, to say the least, just sitting like a monument inside of Twilight's castle, resting some cold stone in the same spot she ejected all of her magic. Though not 100% certain she can be brought back. Well, hey, that's one way to do a queen or princess, I guess. Giving it you all and everything. Princess Luna now, the nighttime princess. Status healthy and stressed as fuck. That's what AF stands for. Has taken on her sister's duties of rising and lowering the sun and her absence, excuse me. It is a bit of a struggle for her, as she does not quite have the same magical, power, fitness as her sister, but still manages. Quite a bit of work, though, honestly. I mean, especially with how big the sun is and shit. Works with Twilight to rule Equestria, as well as constantly communicating with various cities, rulers, etc. across Equestria and pandemic alerts. Okay, so I guess like the whole nation or world, if you will, in that sense. The loss of her sister was a massive blow, but had no time to mourn or figure out a way of reviving her when she had so many duties at hand. Yeah, definitely. Let's see, where were we at? Okay, now I know where I'm at. Tries her best to help run Canterlot Safehold, but is often too tied up with royal diplomatic duties to such a large extent, pretty much. She's draining herself out, basically, to say the least. As well as lowering and rising the sun, will the sun and moon to be thrown out of a wreck, Equestria will be in even more trouble than just facing a pandemic. As a result, Tempest Shadow, I'm assuming her shadow per se, the Night Moon shadow that she tried to punish herself in back in like season 5, if I recall, has taken up the job of primarily running the safe hold up with Luna. No, wait, no, it's a character from season 7. What am I doing? I'm stupid. I haven't fully seen all of the show just yet. I've only gone up to like 6 or something, season 6, and that's it. And then we got Trixie, jeez. Holy shit, she's got crystal eyes. Status stage 3. Like, you know what, I'm calling this the freaking crystal virus or some shit. That's what I'm going off of with this. Made a foolish choice to leave the safe hold alone and was bitten upon returning. Yup, it's what you get. Dumb bitch. Nah. wanders around her cart aimlessly, slowly rotting. Damn. That's depressing. Completely brain dead. The virus controls everything now. Shit, alright. Depressing. Safety warning. Supply runners, stay away from the cart. Subject hides around it, jumps and bites everything that comes too close. Yeah, I think everyone would kind of obviously know that. Like, no shit. Stay away from the infected just in general. Warning, gore and disturbing imagery, excuse me. Animation. Lyra, of course. Lyra's infected and now Bonbons could get infected too. This animation and art's really good. Yep, I had a fair win. I had a fair win. Alright. Letter to Luna. Alrighty. Ah, nice. Dear Princess Luna, not just Luna, Twilight. You gotta add the initial role title in. You can't just say Princess. Well, I mean, just the name. You gotta add Princess to it. What's wrong with you? Anyway, I just wanted to give you my weekly update. Oh, for frick's sake, task search bar. We're making progress. Celestia's magic has certainly helped. While we haven't found a cure, we have discovered some interesting things. She looks tired as all hell, too. Exhausted. I used Celestia's magic to hone in on the virus cells inside crystals, which fall off of some victims. I found some things we expected, as well as a shocking surprise. Unsurprisingly, we found distant traces of dark magic within the virus crystals, similar to the magic inside of the Alicorn amulet and the bewitching bell. Bewitching bell. Disturbingly, this leaves me concerned this virus is not naturally occurring, but rather manufactured or whatever. This crystal virus could be a biological weapon manufactured by an enemy of pony kind. However, this isn't the worst part for what that is, what I discovered. In the next crystals, there were traces of harmony magic. Wow. Harmony magic. The very emulant or whatever, which brings peace, friendship, love, and unity to all of pony kind. The very element, that's why I should pronounce it better, emulant, that has saved us all countless of times. How is such a thing possible? Maybe it's a term of a point of view, though. Like with the Force in Star Wars or something, you know? That kind of thing. What is that, rabbit or some shit? Anyway, That explains why the elements of harmony didn't work when we attempted to use them to cure an infected rabbit we found near Ponyville. That's gotta be Angel, right? Angel Bunny, I guess. At first, we were thrilled. It appeared that the elements worked. The crystals were gone, the wounds were healing, and the subject had come back to a calm, civil state of mind. But after a short period of time, the crystals came back. The rotting continued, and the subject lost its sanity again. In short, it did not work as a cure. Even more troubling is that Discord's chaos magic has proven to be insignificant in curing or fighting the virus. Excuse me, God damn it. While he appears to have an immunity himself. Jeez, my reading today. Immunity himself. His magic can't seem to battle the nature of the virus's harmony and dark magic combination. Alrighty. So I guess we're basically screwed. Nothing's working. No, we're not playing that song. I've heard that song a trillion ass times by now. It's annoying to me. Also, content warning. Okay, so this is Discord here. Discord, status immune. I had a feeling. Immune, but chaos magic does not work in killing the virus. Despite this, his magic is still helpful in fighting off the infected and keeping them at bay. Yeah, definitely. Twilight has recruited him in helping save healthy pony populations in overrun area. Has been bitten several times, but of course he can just brush it off because he's immune. It doesn't infect him. Doesn't do jack shit to him. A bit exhausted while being attacked. Yeah, I kind of figured on that. He's seen a lot of pandemics over the course of his immortal life, but none such as this. But at least they have each other. Wait, did I miss something? I'm assuming Fluttershy's alive with this. Yep, skip. Just here for the AU. That's it, nothing else. Content warning, horror, gore, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. Anyway, so now I guess we got place statuses. Okay, regions or whatever. Canterlot status, 100% contained. Had all of the researchers, had all the resources necessary to safehold entire city with relative ease. Yeah, I kind of figured with the walls and gates and all that shit. Be a breeze. Being up on a mountaintop, they have more safety than other locations, giving them more time to safeguard themselves. Well, yeah, and to set up barriers and stuff. Run by Tempest Shadow and Royal Guard. What? So the captain? I know. I have an idea of what Shadow is here because he was like resurrected back in like season 7 or something, from what I believe, or season 8. I know he's a character later on, but what do you mean Royal Guard? Like the head captain? Besides shining armor or something? Like the first mate to a boat, the second in command or some shit, or just the whole group as a whole? It's gotta be like at least 100 or so guards. Anyway, Cloudsdale, status 0% contained. The city has a little need to do a massive lockdown. Cloudsdale is high up infected Pegasus have an extremely difficult time flying high off the ground due to the nature of the infection, as well as rotting rings and the weight of the crystals. Damn, okay. So basically, you're just pinned completely. You basically put Pegasus with everyone else, basically. Well, you can't fly. Makes sense. Harsh, but makes sense. Even in the earlier stages, the virus precedes, heterorizes, or whatever spreads, being ground-bound. Why is unknown. Because of this, the city is relatively safe for the moment. The biggest issue that they're gripping with is getting enough medical and food supplies, as well as delivery of mail. Pegasus are reluctant to volunteer for deliveries with the pandemic. Okay, so basically they're in their own isolated bubble per se, and things are super limited. Okay, this is interesting. I like this. We never got locational status or whatever. That's kind of cool, honestly. Crystal Empire. Yep, I had a fill-in. Lost. Is that a freaking deal or some shit right there? Is that freaking Bambi or some shit that's just there? Freaking better not be. Warning. Yep, we had a fill-in. Tempest Shadow. Oh, duh! I was thinking of the dark, shadowy antagonist from Season 7, not this one from the 2017 film. Okay, I know where we're at right now. God, I'm stupid. I'm so sorry. So anyway, she's healthy. She's got a robotic prosthetic leg, too. That's cool. Runs Canterlot safe hold. Yeah, safe house, basically. What the heck's bond or whatever? One bond that came from the Ape King was that she learned how to run a tight ship, but she's still never seen anything like this virus. Had a close call outside the safe hold walls, trying to protect a furry kid, if you will, fawn, whatever. She saved the child, but was bitten. Yep, had a fill-in. Thankfully, the amputation saved her life, and a prosthetic was implemented. Yep, I had a fill-in. But she hasn't been the same since, I'm presuming. Not just the sense, the same. So I guess because of that incident, she's basically different now. Pushes her own emotions down, focuses only on helping other ponies. There's a silver lining to her broken horn. Her erect magic acts as an effective defensive mechanism, basically. Needless to say, it helps protect her. I am not the best with reading, folks. I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me and my reading. Does her best to comfort the Crystal Empire. Refuses taking reducity, respiratory, whatever, and canceled lot. No thanks to that. Useless. No thanks to that. Useless shining armor. So I guess basically, she's doing her best with what she can for the Crystal Empire, and is saying no to something in Canto Lot. No thanks to shining armor. Basically not doing much. Useless shining armor. Who holds himself in the library all day long, trying to save a pony who's probably already dead. So I guess this is just her mindset here of how she's seeing it. So I guess they're working together to... So I guess they're helping each other with the Canterlot area, but they're not getting along, and they're butting heads on how to do things. Oh, so that's pretty damn amazing. 1,000 followers, congrats. I honestly like it when it shows, when they say thank you in these slides. It's kind of heartwarming. E-Crystal Infection, Q&A. Yep, I called it on the title earlier. Alright, so I guess this is just a Q&A here. Oh, I don't think I've seen this before. Nice. I wonder if the other dragons are immune as well. Yes. Ember, I'm assuming... I'm gonna turn off the music here because I don't want copyright. I'm assuming this one's that red dragon who's like a dickhead and he's a bully. And he's all cocky and shit, etc. I think that's what this one is. Smoother or whatever. And all the other dragons besides Spike are also completely immune. Okay, nice. So Spike is saved. Why does every one of these infection AUs have these two being lesbians? Jesus. What do you mean to what? Are we talking about Starlight Glimmer and Trixie, Bonbon and Lyra? Because if that's the case with Bonbon and Lyra, that's kind of always been a theme. Is there going to be a cure? Maybe. I don't know. Okay, so I'll give this away. One spoiler. Yes, there will be a cure eventually, but the road there will be tough. Just let the creator decide themselves eventually if that happens or not. I personally find it better if they would have just said, wait and see, or just wait to see what happens, or you know what I mean? So it can be like a mystery, a surprise, if you will. So it's more fun to have it be a mystery than to be like, yes, there'll be a cure. Not gonna say when, but whatever. Will we learn about what happened to Dash? What? Something happened with my favorite pony hill? Yes, what happened to Rainbow Dash is going to be addressed in the story. Alrighty. Is it kind of like chicken pox? Once and never again. Alright? For those few who survived it, yes, it's like chicken pox, but the general survival rate is low. Less than 10. Alrighty. There must be some part of her still in, though. Why else would she be protecting her cart? Wait, who is this again? Oh, Trixie, duh. Okay. That's a really good thought. When I came up with that idea for Trixie, I was thinking along the same wavelength. I didn't have a specific object in the cart in mind, just that she was very attached to the cart. It was her home, her comfort zone, and contained all of her magic performance items. It's a significant part of her soul. Okay. So I guess there's still an aspect in Trixie of this here. But she's brain dead, is she not? So I'm wondering now if someone walked over to her cart, you know, and she attacks them, that said walked in or whatever, does she just walk back, like she goes over and eats them like a zombie and just walks back over, like kind of like an NPC stuck in a video game loop or something? I wonder on that. Anyway, trigger warning, gore, disturbing imagery, post-traumatic stress disorder. Let's freaking do it. Sunburst. Status healthy. Promise shining armor. He protect Flurry Heart. Watches over Flurry Heart while also helping Twilight and Starlight Glimmer research a cure. Him, Flurry Heart, and Shining Armor, and the other Crystal Empire refugees barely escaped alive thanks to a complex transportation spell casted by Twilight Celestia, and Luna. Okay. So I guess it was, like, getting, like, a whole certain population over in there, and how that was nearly breakable, I guess? Even with the combined magic of folks, I can see that. More willpower, blah, blah, blah. He's falling. Oh, what the frick does this mean? Failing? You mean failing? He's failing, okay? Falling. I don't know what that is. What does falling mean? Failing. We're gonna say that. He's failing okay. Mostly for Flurry Heart's sake, but like the other refugees, he's deeply shaken. I would too. Oh, so, bud, you need to get your glasses in when you get the chance. Can't do anything if you can't see shit. Flurry Heart. Status healthy, but traumatized. Yeah, I had a feeling. The celebration of getting her cutie mark was short-lived due to the outbreak. Her special talent is winter spells. Winter sports. Nice. Shining Armor left her with Sunburst and Ponyville and the Ponyville safe hold. Oh, okay. As it's considered the safest place in Equestria due to Celestia's magic. All right. He promised to return once he figured out how to capture mom or cure her mom or whatever. That's definitely a misspell though. That's definitely a little fumble right there, creator. No offense or anything. Sunburst is a comforting presence, but it's not the same as having her parents. So I guess Sunburst is basically the stepdad in this here, from what I take it. We're legit getting like an Octavia moment from a hell of a boss, to be honest. But what has been seen. Oh shit. Can't be unseen. Damn. So I guess she's in danger now. Or maybe it's such a triggering thing with her that whenever she sees an infected, she just immediately gets thrown back to that traumatic day of when she got her cutie mark or something. I'm presuming that's what it is. It's not whether or not the infected come after her or not. It's just her purely seeing that. That triggers that day when she nearly lost her life or something. Anyway, triggering warning, horror, disturbing imagery. Pinch and zoom to read. Text. Really? You're gonna make it super small? Okay, it's not that bad. I was thinking like super damn small, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't know how to zoom in. Whoop. Yeah, I don't know if I could even zoom in, even if I wanted to. I don't got no phone on me. This is just purely computer. I don't have all of the answers yet. However, my research is beginning to reveal a lot. And with these photos collected from an eyewitness of what is believed to be one of the first ponies outside of the Crystal Empire infected, the answers are becoming more clear. After the outbreak began in the Crystal Empire, my brother and the guard there worked tirelessly to stop and contain it. After their efforts failed him, my niece and a small group of other survivors were forced to flee. The Empire was a total loss. Whoop, nope, stop it. Didn't mean to do that. We had difficulty pinpointing how this illness was able to spread so quickly all the way from the frozen north. But when the pony who But when the pony who gave me these photos told me that a train had crashed with ponies traveling from the Crystal Empire just before Celestia made the formal announcement that the Empire was to be quarantined. We now know why. We've deemed this illness a crystal. If you see any pony, and been basically showing off or whatever these symptoms, run. Princess Twilight Sparkle. Sheets. Sorry. Alright. Stage 1. Eternal bite. Yeah. Internal bite. Basically bite marks to say whatever. Stage 1. The subject begins experiencing fatigue. Crystallization begins happening around the bite area. Subject develops a fever. Forehead is hot to the touch. Bite spot is painful to touch. Slight headache at this point. Note survivor percentage after the amputation. Yeah, the amputation appears to be 50-50. Sometimes the illness continues to spread, sometimes it doesn't. However, if amputation is to be done, it must be done in this phase. So basically, you're screwed if you're further than stage 1. It's a one and done thing. Stage 2, rotting in crystal growth starts. Flesh begins rotting away. Crystals began growing on eternal organs and basically poking in through the skin or popping in or whatever, basically to say the least. Hair falls off and feathers as well, if a Pegasus. Fever worsens and subject can become delusional. Okay, lovely. Losing your mind. That's always nice. Still semi-conscious, but moods can shift quickly. Warning. Infected are the most dangerous at this phase. From what I've gathered, the infection bite becomes the illness. Compels them to do so in order to spread. Run. So basically, you just slowly become insane through stage 2. Stage 3, late rot and crystal growth. Warning, if the body is still moving, the crystals are contagious. Do not touch it. No shit. I had a feeling on that, but you gotta note for everyone here on this. Significant flesh rot. Limbs begin falling off. Eternal organs crystallizing significantly. Crystal growth picks up momentum and crystals grow quite large. Crystallization takes over brain. Lovely. Hence the piercing of the crystal eyes and shit. I kind of figured. Eyes basically pop out and fall off their sockets as crystals grow out of them from the brain. God, that's gotta be so fucking painful too. Illness has consumed subject's brain at this point. Subject's brain's dead and no longer consciousness. Well, I had a feeling on that. Gee, I wonder if your brain gets mushed up and ripped to shreds and shit. It's no one. Who the hell could be consciousness without a brain? If I only had a brain. Anyway, stage 4, full crystallization. Subject is physically dead at this point. Eternal organs completely crystallized, nearly flesh all gone. At this point, the illness has completely consumed the subject and has died itself due to no longer having a host to feeding on, which is why it is necessary for it to spread by biting in earlier stages. Of note, only about 20% of subjects who contracted the illness survive. Crystals at this stage are not contagious due to the disease being dead. In earlier stages, they are. Despite this, our attempts to use these crystals to create a cure has been futile. Unfortunate. Excuse me. Unfortunate. We're gonna say it with that. Damn, honestly, this is pretty damn interesting. I like this. This is cool as hell. I like this AU. Even though there's some misspelling and reading issues. I freaking like this shit. Alright, Twilight Sparkle. Status healthy. Her castle in Ponyville has been turned into a research lab to find a cure, and has become the center of Ponyville's safehold. It's not only desperately trying to find a cure, but it's also helping Luna's role, Equestria in the midst of the pandemic. Has to rule Equestria from a distance outside of Canterlot due to containing her research. Relies heavily on Spike and Derpy to deliver messages, often sleep deprived. Yep, I had a feeling on that. Maine is often unbrushed, basically to say, so it's messy, as she puts finding a cure ahead of maintaining it. Spike, status immune, often ends up taking care of Twilight instead of the other way around. Left the safe hold without Twilight's knowledge, and in an attempt to gather a crystal sample from an infected pony who was still living and ended up getting bitten. But luckily he's immune, so he can take all the bullets he wants, basically. Twilight was angry, but mostly at herself for allowing it to happen. She blames herself. Unfortunately, discovered this way that dragons are immune, but oddly, the crystal marks still remains. Interesting. I wonder, it may be a bit cruel, but she may have to take a bit of skin scale off of him there and research it that way, possibly. Then we got Applejack here. Damn. She's kicking ass and shit here. Applejack, status healthy. Supply runner. Regularly leaves the safe hold to gather supplies for the parts of Ponyville which couldn't be saved, which sadly includes Sweet Apple Acres. Boo Biceps trained her in her self-defense along with the other supply runners. Along with Sweet Apple Acres, she lost Granny Smith to the pandemic and will be determined if she loses someone or something else she loves. Rarity has designed a number of pieces of protective appeal, or armor, I guess, which includes thick rubber to protect from bites. Nice. Has a supply sack over there. Interesting. Thinks about Rainbow Dash a lot. Hasn't heard from her since she left Ponyville's safe hold to help defend her hometown, Cloudsdale. Yeah, definitely. I'm sure she's alright. She's gotta be. The most vulnerable area of the body are the legs due to being the easiest area to grab and bite. Besides the mane and tail, which the virus can't transfer through. Okay, interesting. Extra protection is needed here. So Rarity created metal plates, flexible and basically tough enough, easy enough to run on and stuff. Thick rubber sleeves or boots per se to loose crystals don't get basically pinned in her hooves. Basically, to say the least. So she's jacked up. She's freaking built up like a freaking bulldozer in Payday 2. Like, she's geared up in armor and shit. Nothing's gonna get through her tough material. And thanks to Rowdy and everything. Then we got Pinkie Pie here. Status, sleep deprived but healthy. She's not looking good mentally, though. She may be healthy in body, but not in psychological or something. Located in Ponyville's safe hold, the Crystoli or whatever relies heavily on Pinky. She relies heavily on Pinky sense to alert them of oncoming danger. Yep, so I figured, like a Spidey sense Spider-Man. Her job is to walk along the inner walls of the safe hold and alert other safe hold guards if she picks up on anything. Her Pinky sense is constantly in overdrive as the infected tend to wander around the outer walls, constantly looking for a way in. She has timed shifts, but still gets very little sleep, as her anxiety and senses are always going off. Is very jumpy and can sometimes become delusional as a result of lack of sleep. Hasn't laughed in forever. Damn. Yeah, she needs to frickin' sleep. Why not do an experiment on her? See what the Pinky senses are so that everyone can get a frickin' Spidey sense with this. And then we got another trigger warning, horror and disturbing imagery. We don't care. At least I don't. Fluttershy. Right, Fluttershy, status healthy. Oversees test animals in the lab to make sure they're cared for properly. Is angry with Twilight Sparkle for not being able to find a way around testing innocent animals and infecting them to find a cure. Yeah, I kind of agree on that. I can get on that, not gonna lie. They're alive too, after all. But you gotta do something, true. You gotta try something, even in cruel circumstances. Twilight tried to reason with Fluttershy that there was no way around it, but Fluttershy doesn't believe her. Yeah, I can see that. The other main six tried to talk her out of the job so she wouldn't have to see the innocent animals suffer, but she absolutely insisted. If Twilight has to resort to testing and infecting them, then she's going to care for them and make sure as they're as comfortable as possible for Pony's sakes. Has taken a toll on her mentally. Definitely. I'm wondering if this is Angel right here. Rapids are whatever, a number, basically hold a number of materials along with ponies who can catch E-Crystal. Due to this, the race to find a cure is even more dire, as Acacia risks losing more other vulnerable species. Yeah, definitely for sure. Rainbow Dash, status unknown, just question marks. But if she's okay, then what? Unless I'm missing something here from this. Wasn't getting any response to letters sent to her parents, so she left. So she wasn't getting any response from her parents through letters, basically. So she left Ponyville's safe hold to go to make sure her hometown Cloudsdale, was safe, and to defend it if need be. Isn't responding to any letters sent by Applejack or the others. Location is currently unknown. Alrighty. Oh, duh, those are... Okay, I had a fill-in. Alright, so those are pinned, slides. And this was back in, this was about a month ago, a couple weeks or so ago. Alrighty. Well, that is E-Crystal virus, or E-Crystal infection, or whatever you want to call it. Honestly, I really like this one. This one's pretty damn cool as all hell. I find it very interesting. The only main issue that I have with it is obviously some spelling errors here and there. But yeah, this was very interesting, even though it was hard for me to fully read some of them and everything. I really like this one. I really like the art style of this and everything. It's pretty damn cool. It definitely seems like a dire kind of situation here and everything. I do feel like that, I do feel like whenever it comes to like Q&A and stuff like that, I feel like it's kind of overall better to leave things a bit of a mystery instead of, because, yeah, you could say to, like, the folks that are questioning and asking stuff, sure, you could say stuff like, well, I plan on doing this and this stuff and everything. But I think it's kind of overall important to leave it sort of a mystery or leave it as, like, a hanging idea. At least, like, well, I'm thinking of doing this here, but not too entirely sure on it. We'll kind of wait and see. Leave it in the air, because when you say something, for instance, kind of like, yes, there'll be a cure, or yes, we do confirm something fully, it kind of ruins the AU because it kind of spoils everything. You know what I mean? Because now that, they said that, yes, there's going to be a cure, even though it's going to be very difficult, it kind of just dials it a bit down of that mystery, because now it's like, okay, so they're definitely going to get a cure from this. They have to. You know what I mean? I just find it overall kind of better when you leave it a bit of a mystery and leave it to, and it's much better shock factor when it's like, oh shit, we found a cure. They actually found a cure, instead of like earlier on, yeah, they found the cure because we got an answer to that. But that's just me and my personal nitpick. At the end of the day, overall, this AU is really damn interesting. I love it. I find it very unique here and everything. I freaking loved the whole location status. We need to get more of that in. We need more of that shit in. That's very interesting. I really liked that. There were some character statuses, but it was more based on feelings and stuff, rather than the whole percentage thing like a survival game, like many other character statuses in these AUs do, where it just shows the health, the water, the hunger, the thirst, the freaking sanity, this and that. So I did kind of like that, how instead of that, we got more on the healthy and everything, and then we got a description on how they're doing and whatnot. I liked that a lot better than just a percentage number, because I don't think it could matter in a sense, but that's kind of, when you get to, like, the hunger, the thirst, the freaking, this and that and everything, some of the status numbers, the percentages and those statuses of character sheets or whatever, can kind of be a bit irrelevant to the actual AU. You know what I mean? Like, does it really matter if you're, I guess it could to an extent, but does it, like, really matter if you're 1,000% hungry or some shit, but yet your thirst is all fine? And it's normal, oddly enough. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's just, or power level or whatever, so I did like that. And I really loved the location. I really liked that. The location statuses or population and stuff like that. We need more of that shit in. We need to do more of that stuff. I love it whenever something unique comes up, and I really loved that. So do more locations if you can, add more locational stuff. How is whatever that's called, it's basically New York but for ponies, and we got the Statue of Liberty, but it's a pony version and a male and stuff like that. What about that city? How's that city doing? What about I don't know, the desert or whatever, or Everfree Forest, just more stuff like that, locational status, on how the population there is overall doing. More of that, please. And also, the art is really damn good. I really love the infection designs, and I really like the story so far. I love how the infection is evolving with this and how it's going. It's very unique and everything. I'm really glad I looked at this, and it's overall very damn good. You're doing an amazing job, creator. I really like it. Other than some misspelling here and there, sometimes it's on their end of the type, sometimes it's on my end of the reading. Work a bit better on that. But overall, these light themes over here haven't been, too bad. But yeah, I really like this AU. I hope there's more to come from this, and I am curious to know, what did you folks think of this? Did you folks like it? Because I personally, I dig this shit. I really like it. But yeah, the last, folks, that's basically it for this video here. So with all of that being said and out of the way, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you folks don't miss out on a future video or post that I make, and that you can always be kept up to date in the future. And lastly, if you have any requests or suggestions, feel free to tell me down in the comments below. And lastly, before I forget, if you folks want to check this AU out for yourself and to take a look at this, the link will be down in the description below. So with all of that said and out of the way, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe for more, and I will see you all sooner or later. Bye-bye, everyone.